All right, gang, I think we're live. Looks like the feed is good. And here we are. All right. All right, everybody. How's everybody doing? I am super late. I was a little under the weather the last couple days, and I was just really tired from I think I just had the flu or something. And I basically just today was my only day off this week, and I slept in all day. And I tried to get up and do my stream at the normal time, but I just needed, my body was telling me to sleep, so I slept. And I just took it easy all day, but I feel a lot better. So I really want to get this done. Well, at least this part of the project done. And for those of you who don't know what's going on, if you're just tuning in, I am working on a stylized wooden table for a diorama I'm building. My name's Jason. This is my little stream where I share my adventures learning and creating digital art with the occasional run through a video game and hopefully some tech reviews coming up in the relatively short future here. But without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So I exported the table out of a Blender. I brought it here into Zbrush. And so far it's one part, but I'm going to separate it into different tools. So let's see what happens when we hit auto groups. And let's see here. Let's do a group by normals. Let me split hidden. Go to this part. Split hidden. This part. Now let's do a group by normals. Okay. All right, I think let's see here. I want to I forget the shortcut for to grow the visibility. I think it tells you Control Shift X. So let's see here. Control Shift X. There we go. And Control W. And now we'll split hidden. I think I have all my parts now. Let's see. This is the lower metal band. I'm gonna just go ahead and rename everything as I go along, just to be smart about it. Let's see. Lower metal, that's what I'll call it, or legs metal. And then we have, oops, the legs. And this is the tabletop. And this is the top metal bands. I'll just call it top. All right. There we go. So I've got all of them separated. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of make a duplicate of each piece as I go through. Just so I have a backup. It's always a good idea to keep a original. Just kind of store it away. Let me turn this perspective off. And I'm just gonna probably jump the resolution up to, let's just go straight to 5 or 56. Let's try that. And blur off and dynamish. That's not quite enough. Do 512. Enter. Blur to 0 and then dynamish. There we go. That holds enough detail for us. I'm just going to go through now and let me turn symmetry on here. Let's see, hold on, what's going on? I'm on local symmetry. All right, that should be good. Then I'll go ahead and hit the, that really did not hold the, its form very well, did it? Oh well. I'll just combat that with the Sculptress Pro option. And what I'll do is I'll go to my smooth and I will set the intensity to 0 for now. And just kind of hit the, I'll make that a little bigger. Hit the edges of this real quick to go ahead and give it some more topology to work with. You can kind of see what's going on as I do it there. This is a really thin part of the metal, so it'll be better if I have a little bit of extra topology there for the the Sculptress Pro to do its thing. Did any of you catch the Zbrush Summit? I watched pretty much all of it now. I tried to watch some of it live while I could, but you know, work and such gets in the way of the fun stuff. But it was a pretty sweet presentation in Summit. They showed some cool new tools coming out for ZBrush. There's finally going to be a real folder system. I feel like that's a long time coming, but hey, better late than never. I think it's the little things like that that's going to make ZBrush just solidify its spot as one of the best artistic tools out there. You know, a lot of quality of life, day-to-day improvements. And the best part about it is their updates are always free. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Is like, some people will say ZBrush is really expensive, and initially it is, but when you compare it to any other software package that you actually have to pay for, it's the updates have been free for forever. No other company does that, and yet offers what they offer. They offer a lot. So if you're on the fence about getting ZBrush, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you take the time to learn it and make full use of it. It's a very powerful tool. And it's just fun. It really is. Something I'm curious about is whether they're doing anything with VR, because that is going to be a game changer, I think. ZBrush in VR. Oh boy. I mean, I assume if they are, it's very far away because VR is not quite there. It's not mainstream. But as far as production stuff goes, or like, you know, game dev stuff, it's a winner, man. Yeah, so if any of you were here this morning wondering what happened, where I was sleeping, and I apologize, but I didn't want to try to stream, and you know, I was kind of taking some medication and stuff, and I didn't want to be all zonked out of it. I was just too brain dead. So basically, I'm just going to go through a similar process on this that I did on the stool. Just kind of knock the edges down. You know, just so that they're not so harsh. Any of you who haven't been following along, I do use or lean heavily on a very stylized, like kind of World of Warcraft, League of Legends style uh, for my props. At least I try to. Definitely not as anywhere near as cool as their stuff, but you know, it's all a work in progress. It's all about learning and getting better. That down. I mean, this is probably overkill since this is going to be like the underneath of the table, but hey, I need the practice. Oh. Making use of the symmetry feature, definitely a massive time saver for stuff like this. Well, let's make this one poly group. I don't know why it was multiple. I'm gonna go ahead and play the original. And something I like to do for my metal pieces that I find makes it super easy is I like to use the orb noise brush. Where are you? Rock detail, orb rock noise. And I just kind of go through and paint it on or sculpt it on, I guess. And sometimes I'll do a negative here and there. I probably should have hit, where do I hide that at? Oh, backface mask, there we go. Just hit these edges real quick, even though that's pretty much not visible. Then what I'll do is I'll go through with the orb flatten brush And I just kind of, I turn symmetry off now. And this is to kind of make it have a little bit more unique detail on each part, so that each branch of this or cross doesn't look exactly the same. And I just kind of go through real quick and smooth it out with the orb flatten brush. I do a pass with this, and I find that it works really well. And basically the goal here is to just add some surface noise and some interest to the surface of the metal. Like you can kind of see it. Maybe if I kind of shine it there. Let me go to a render and do best. It doesn't really show. I mean, you can kind of see it there. It's just so that when you bake your maps out, it has something to work with. Because if you leave it totally smooth, it's very plain looking, and that is usually okay for a stylized style. But I like to have just a little bit more detail, you know. I actually should try to tone it down, I think, because I am probably putting a little too many micro details onto my stuff. But this has been a work in progress and a learning process for me. I definitely have learned a lot over the last couple of months now. Right now I'm going to hit it with the AJ polish. Whoa! Let me turn backface masking down. And this is just, it's sort of similar to the H polish brush. I'm not exactly sure how whoever made it. I don't want to assume it's a girl or a guy, but whoever made it, whoever AJ happens to be. But it just kind of smooths out some more of the surface detail. Basically another, I guess the easiest way to explain it is it's a stylized H polish, almost. If that even makes sense. You know what I want to see? I want to see if... Oh, there it is, Intersection Master. I just wanted to see if I installed those new plugins properly. Looks like it's there. I'm gonna have to mess around with that and see if I can figure out how to make it work, how to take advantage of it. I'm just gonna smooth these out. I forgot to hit that with the orb, but I think we'll be okay. Real lightly hitting that. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'll just do a couple of these little AJ cracks. And I will bring down the intensity to about 46. Kind of randomly place these guys. One there, a couple there. I think that's good for that part. You know what I'm gonna do? Where is the legs metal? I'm gonna go to that one, duplicate, shoot that all the way to the bottom. And I'm just gonna go ahead and merge that down. That way these are one piece. I don't need to worry about those being separated because when I bake it, this piece doesn't intersect with this piece, so I'll be fine. All right, pretty good for the top part. Let me just hit Dynamesh. And I'll do this part after the fact. I'll work on a section of the tabletop here so you guys can see what see my workflow for the wood. Excuse me, having a brain fart. Same thing. I'll make a duplicate. That way I have a backup. Hide the original, and I'm just gonna strum straight to 1024. Avoid the hassle. There we go. Nice and dynameshed. All right, so let's think of this. This isn't a stool, this is a table. So you know what I'm gonna do is something a little bit different. I'm gonna turn symmetry on, and I want it on the Z as well. I'm gonna make an edge board. It goes around the whole thing. Let's see here, I'm having a tough time with that. Trying to follow that edge as best as I can. Here we go. It doesn't have to be ultra clean because it's, you know, kind of slats of wood. Put a split here. Up on there, even though it's hidden. There. And now I'll run my wood this way. Or should I wait? I could do that. That might be a little more interesting. Yeah, let's try that. Maybe if I make it look like no, I don't like that. You know what? I am gonna go for the symmetry. It doesn't make sense that they would do it like that. Yeah. Come on, straight lines. I want it to be straight, but I don't like to use the shift I don't want it to be like uber perfect. There we go. That should work. Now just kind of flesh those out a little more. And just to really drill through there, I'll use this Sculptress Pro mode. Yeah, I need to sell it here more. I think we're pretty decent on that. I guess I should have hit it with the trim dynamic first, huh? Let's do that. And we'll switch trim dynamic. Turn off Sculptress Pro. Knock this down. Let's see, I'm going to switch back to the Pro. Really cut through this part here. You know, to save myself some effort, I'm going to do a mirror and weld, but I'm going to do it on the Y. I think, yep, all right. That way I have it on both sides. Now I can just use symmetry on the Y-axis also. Flip it this way. Go ahead and turn symmetry off. Actually, I'll turn it on everything except for the X and Z. That way it'll only draw on the top and the bottom. You know what, let me try it without the Sculptress Pro, see how we do. I think we have enough resolution. Be safe. Yeah, and see I got it on both sides now. That'll save me a lot of time with the detailing both sides, since you'll probably only see one side. Unless I flip the tables over or something in the diorama. Which I might do. I haven't really decided yet. what I'm doing. Nope, don't like it. Let's do this. And I'll do, what I will do is, let's see, I can probably turn, no, still have to keep it. And that's basically like kind of how I do the wood. And I'll have that going all the way around. But what I like to do is go back with the clay buildup, and I'll just kind of follow the pattern I've laid out with just some random, like, I guess you could call it cross hatching almost, not really, but just somewhat random strokes. And similar to how I like to use the noise on the metal, this is basically to add some noise to the wood, so that when you bake the maps, or when I bake the maps, excuse me, there's something for it to kind of work with and latch onto. If I was going to make this a tree, this is a great way to make like bark. But what I like to do is, I'll show you in a second here, I like to knock it down with the orb flatten and the AJ polish brush. So again, that's just the clay buildup, just some kind of like sort of random straight and cross hatching strokes. And then I go back to the orb flatten and just kind of knock it down. Let me, maybe if I zoom in, it'll show up a little better. Hopefully that's not too hard to see on the stream. But you can see how it kind of cleans up that little like tractor look, the trail of the clay buildup brush. I actually sort of like that it does that, because it adds, like, it's kind of like free random detail after you go through and smooth it out with the orb flatten. This kind of adds a couple more free grooves in the wood for you. And just go through, kind of get as much of it as you can. I'm normally not this zoomed in. And unfortunately, well, fortunately and unfortunately, most of the props I've been working on are wood and metal. So my workflow has been the same for a lot of the props. but it's the repetition is good for helping me learn. It's definitely helped me learn a couple little tricks as I go. And I definitely recommend, like, if you, like, this was a personal project and challenge for myself to help me get better at ZBrush and Blender in general. But just also just to get better at like digital art and 3D modeling and sculpting in general. And the repetition, you know, I only do it for about an hour to 2 hours a day, about 45 minutes a stream. And then on my personal time between work and the streams, I chip away at it for about an hour. So maybe about 2 hours a day. But doing it consistently has definitely helped me learn a lot and retain it. Because for a while there, I would do stuff and I would kind of like binge. If that makes any sense? Like binge model, binge sculpt. Like for like 2-3 weeks straight, I would just go crazy working on a project, and it would look pretty good and it turned out good. And then I would I'd get bored and I'd burn out, and I wouldn't walk back and do it for another couple of weeks. And I would launch ZBrush or Blender and I'd be like, I don't even know what I'm doing. What am I doing? So for me anyway, the key was to just kind of be consistent and keep it sort of short and sweet, you know. It's just a hobby for me. And it's funny, I don't want to say just a hobby because I love doing it. Like, you know, it's more fun than video games for me. Like some people love gaming, and don't get me wrong, I play video games. But like when I get off work, what I want to do is 99% of the time I want to work on one of my projects in ZBrush or Blender. You know, it's funny because it's more relaxing to me. Like I find it helps me just chill out after work. Whereas a lot of times I'd play video games and I would get like kind of worked up, and then I wouldn't be able to go to bed for hours and hours. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that, but you know, it's a ruthless and vicious cycle. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference between this part and that part now. Let's do a little, see that all. Bring it to light more. Maybe if I get this one. Doesn't it? Doesn't seem like it's rendering very well. Oh, that's different. Oh, sorry. This might be taxing my computer. But you can see it. It's pretty subtle, but you can see there's just a little more fun detail. Got like a exaggerated, that, you know, that stylized look to it. Oh, I did not mean for it to do that. But that looks pretty good. So yeah, I basically just wanted to, you know, update you guys and let you know where I was at. I like to do like show my workflow for the different parts of the project as I go, but I don't like to do, or I think it gets a little boring if I do, like if I were to do the whole thing, it would just kind of be boring for people. But basically I repeat that process on all these planks that I have here, and then I'll repeat the process I did on the metal on this lower part. You know, I'll knock the edges down with the trim dynamic, and then use the noise brush to just add some surface noise and then smooth it out. And then I'll put some potholes or divots some randomly throughout. And basically from there I decimate it and then export it back into Blender. And on Friday, that's what we'll be doing. No, on Friday I'll do that tomorrow off stream, because that's kind of boring. I try to leave the boring stuff off stream, like retopology and UV mapping and unwrapping and packing in particular. I think nobody really likes watching that. I might do 1 or 2 parts of it just so that people can see like how I do it, even though I don't think I'm very good at it. But yeah, I typically leave that off stream, and I try to just keep it strictly to the workflow stuff. But yeah, I think we'll call it a stream there, gang. Again, if you were here this morning, sorry, I was ill. I was under the weather, but I'm back. I feel much better. And yeah, so as usual, if you like the content, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be back on Friday, and we will do a quick baking and texture process using Marmoset Tool Bag and Substance Painter. So if you're interested in that, you know, hit that bell icon so you get notified, and as soon as I go live, you will see. With that said, you guys have a good night. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Everybody who's been following along. And oh yeah, please feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comment sections. I really appreciate it. Until next time, you guys have a good night. Peace.